But we are in an exploration of very fundamental significance to all of us, more so than many other studies might be able to claim. You see, there are only two worldviews that impact all of us. The first is that everything is the result of a cosmic accident. That is the prevailing view taught in our schools. Those of you that have children in our government schools know what you're up against there. And it's this view that we're just some kind of cosmic accident that leads to Columbine High School, that leads to the lawlessness that pervades not just our streets but also our courts and elsewhere. The other worldview is that we are the result of a deliberate design by a designer. Every worldview that you might hold derives from one of these two presuppositions. And so we're not just joining a study of the book of Genesis, we're plunging right into a very fundamental root belief that affects all of us. And so there are four questions that will derive from any of these worldviews. First of all, who am I? Who am I really? Where did I come from? We all ask ourselves that question, especially when we're young, but all through our lives, that question lurks behind every other attitude we might have. Because it also begs the question, why are we here? And where are we going when we die? Death is in front of all of us. We're in a brief, tragically brief sojourn with an ultimate destiny. Where will we spend it? What will it be like? All these things derive from one of those two worldviews, and these questions are fundamental to almost everything we think or believe. So, one of the things that we've all been victim of is the skepticism that has emerged in recent decades. There's been all kinds of pseudo-scholars that attack the historicity of the Bible in general, and especially the book of Genesis, and especially the first 11 chapters. And there's been a view that they didn't even have writing in the days of Moses. This was a very prevalent view for centuries ago. And also that the Gospels and the Epistles of the New Testament were written in the 2nd century, a couple hundred years after the fact. All of this, fortunately, has been debunked in our time. You and I have the benefit of much more effective scholarship through archaeological discoveries, through documentary discoveries, and competent analysis. So the good news is much of what you may have heard in some of the skeptical texts or TV programs of the past are shredded by the facts. They're ganged up mercilessly by reality. And so we're going to have the advantage of that. I want to underscore two discoveries that underpin our particular ministry and attitude towards these things. The first is that we have in our laps this evening 66 books, and these 66 books were penned by over 40 different authors and over a period of almost 2,000 years. And the discovery is, first of all, that this group of 66 books are an integrated message. We've discovered that every detail in these books is there by design. And that's something you really need to discover for yourself to have impact. But as you do your study, I want you to be sensitive to the fact that as you go, you'll begin to discover for yourself the integrity of the whole. And as you do that, that leads to a second discovery. The first discovery, as I say, is that we have in our possession an integrated message system. Even though there's 66 books by over 40 guys who didn't even know each other, and done over thousands of years, we now know that the origin of that message system has to have occurred from outside the dimensionality of time. Not just because it writes history in advance, the very structure of the text anticipates information that emerges thousands of years later. So it's a clearly skillful design from outside our time domain. And from these two discoveries, I can make the assertion, you say, well, you can't prove the Bible. Yes, you can if you do your homework. Because you can prove its integrity of design, and having done that, you can demonstrate its origin from being outside the time dimension. And so this whole idea is that we have the New Testament is in the Old Testament concealed. And the Old Testament is in the New Testament revealed. And as that gets demonstrated in your own study, it will alter your whole attitude about this collection of manuscripts we call the Bible.